Hi, my name is Jim March. I'm the second vice chair, Pima County Libertarian Party, and this is Occupy Tucson Day 3. Monday morning, holding pretty strong. I'm going to give you a walkthrough what's going on around here. Hardcore groups hanging by. A bunch more people got ticketed last night for sleeping in the park. Law enforcement's taking a velvet glove approach. They are avoiding the trap of arrest everybody and drag them off in handcuffs, but they are ticketing people with citations for sleeping in the park worth between $200 and $1,000. And the worst part is they're going to do that every single night. Now, the first court hearing on this is 10 days from the initial ticket. So people are going to walk into court with not just one ticket, but 10. And if they can find a judge who is just as bad, the Science Department, if they can find a judge who's just as bad at First Amendment issues as they are, then they could really screw people. This is the IT department where I usually hang out, and Geek Central. Doesn't look like much now, but it gets much busier towards the night. We've got our own Wi-Fi hotspot thrown up, and it's often two, running off of Verizon cell phone cards routed out through a modem, out through a router, I mean. Oh yes, here's our generator, also known as the red square. It's currently off, but we'll fire that up a little later. It's very quiet. It's a clone of the Honda inverter generators. Now, my purpose here is to try to inject a little note of libertarian in this, and by that I mean hopefully get them to focus on the most dangerous thing they can say, which is end the fraud on Wall Street. Prosecute the actual corruption, the actual fraud that's already well documented. If they can stick to that message, at least as a main part of what they're doing, then this will have a big effect, especially if we get another wave of bank failures in the next 2 weeks to 2 months out of either Europe or China. This is the food and water distribution area, which is going pretty good, and we've got the physical aid tent, medical tent, and mental health tents, and that may seem like silly or something, but really it's not. Any public movement, you're going to attract a few stray individuals, and while it may sound like I'm criticizing on that, I'm really not, because the Republican trend is to take their worst nutcases and put them in the GOP presidential debates, Bachmann, Perry, etc. So, oh yes, very important aspect of what's going on, the porta potties. Okay, never mind. So I'm going to close off. I'm going to splice in some video I took on the very first night when law enforcement laid out what they were doing. My next step from here is I'm going over to City Hall, try and talk to some of the City Council and get an agenda item for the Tuesday night meeting where they discuss what law enforcement should really be doing about all this. I think it'd be very reasonable to tell the cops to back off, respect the First Amendment, and at least wait for a judge to rule on the initial round of tickets and get the appeals process from that worked out. So, signing off, that's where we're at. But my view, I'll add one more detail. My view, this is all a spark. It's not a major movement right now. It's a spark that will catch fire and roar if we get another major round of bank failures in either Europe or China, or worst case, both, and the world gets thrown into a Great Depression. At that point, Armory Park here in Tucson will not be big enough. We'll have to be at Reed Park, the biggest one in the damn town. And I can't say I'm looking forward to it, but I think it's going to happen. And this is the spark that's going to do it. Signing off. Okay, Jim here. Just as I was about to leave, approximately 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more cops just joined the scene, all in a group. I'm going to try and find out what the hell that's about. We got a car coming, of course. Well, a bunch of cops just joined the scene. Okay, we can see them walking in a group right up the walk. See if I can get closer. One, two, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, okay, they've got, there's one guy in the lead's got a clipboard in his hand. Likely a ticket book of some sort. Hope you can see this guy walking. Good God, he's right there, but it's so damn dark. So,
Chief and Deputy Chief are talking over.
Chief and Deputy Chief are right in front of me. If I can get them, God, so damn dark. Other cops that came up are huddled in a group that looks like more like 8, 7 or 8. 5 of them, including a chief and assistant chief, are in a huddle over here. Appears to be a prelude to something going down. If you're watching this and you're a little confused over the title, I didn't have time to change my title of this. It still says 10 o'clock events. We're now close, well, we're exactly 11 o'clock right now. I'm going to put the phone in its carrier. Yeah. You can probably see this. Somebody rigged this bicycle up pretty cool. Cops are right in front of me. Yeah. Yeah. Basically, a big crowd of them joined from the right, like 7 or 8, moving as a group. You're with one of the news crews, yeah. 13. 13, okay. I'm live streaming to a server in Sweden. Yeah. Let me make a comment on all this. We got police coming down the sidewalk here. I don't know what's going on. It doesn't appear to me they have enough law enforcement to actually arrest everybody here. What's going on, as far as I can see, fits with the story that they're going to ticket and not arrest. Well, okay, since the story... Oh, well, we got a cluster of people over here around the news crew, naturally. Boy, if they knew what I knew about the news crews and TV cameras, it'd run the other way. So where to God. But let's check this out from the sidewalk. That's full. I think somebody would be right back for it. I wouldn't throw it. I wouldn't throw that out.
No, I wasn't going to throw it away.
Oh.
I'm just trying to help you.
I understand, but I think they're temporary because they're just going to this little cluster of whatever.
I don't think it's been open.
Yeah.
Do the water?
No, it's okay. Cool. Thank you. Oh, sorry.
Depending on how many that involves, I don't know how long it'll take to get on. As soon as I can get that, I don't right now. I'm sure we have some estimates throughout the day. We've had several estimates outside. What happens tomorrow again, if people come back again tomorrow, we will see cloud grow again.
Is the current plans for ticketing as opposed to arrest?
The current plan has yet to be decided.
Really?
Yeah, there are options, but right now I think the general spirit of planning and thinking is that arrests would be in the form of citations if in fact we came to the point of enforcing the park ordinances that we're doing.
Right. Well, let me rephrase that. We've gotten assurances from the chief that this is going to be a ticket situation as opposed to a drag-off and handcuff situation. Is that your understanding that has not changed?
My understanding at this point is that the plan is, if arrests do take place, that most likely they will take place in the form, at least in most scenarios, in most situations, and with most individuals, they will take place in the form of citations with a field release as opposed to a physical custodial arrest.
Okay. If they stay after the citation, what happens?
That will depend on a variety of factors, including their attitude at the time, how cooperative they are, whether or not the evaluations that they might pose some sort of ongoing risk or threat of some kind, or if it's simply that they're remaining in the park. If they're remaining in the park and nothing else and aren't causing any further problems,
okay,
most likely they will be allowed to remain in the park. Whether or not they are then subject to arrest tomorrow, 24 hours from now, that may be a factor as well. But my understanding at this point is that most likely the plan, barring any major changes, the plan would be for arrests to take place in the form of citation and field release, if in fact arrests are made.
The only concern I have with your words, and I'm speaking as second vice chair of Pima County Libertarian Party, is that one way to possibly read what you're saying is that if some people get upset with the citation, or verbally challenge it, or verbally challenge what's going on, or something like that, that an individual officer's discretion as to whether they should be dragged off in handcuff style arrested would then take place. My concern is that a possible violation of First Amendment might happen concerning what someone might say and how you might react to what they say. And I want you to keep in mind that that issue is something we'll be looking at. You know, people do have a right to verbally say all kinds of things, you know, short of threatening violence. That's understood. Okay? But
and I think if I can give you some sort of an answer, I think the answer to that question or that concern is that we have, I think if you've been here for some length of time, you've probably seen that the officers have acted with restraint. There haven't been people dragged off out of the park. Okay. We are very well aware that people have a constitutionally protected right to freedom of speech and freedom of peaceable assembly.
Okay.
With that in mind, I'm not speaking of people who are upset, perhaps verbally upset at being cited and released and complain verbally about being released.
Okay.
The scenario that I'm talking of, where someone might find themselves in a custodial arrest situation, would be a situation where, based on the evaluation of the personnel we have here at the scene by the incident commanders, that person happens to pose an ongoing risk either to the rest of the group or to the officers that are here continuing their enforcement.
All right.
In a situation like that, someone may find themselves in a custodial arrest situation.
Okay, that's fair enough. I want you to remember one final thing, and I'll say no more. I don't mean to harass you or anything. But I've talked to half a dozen of the people who were arrested at the Tucson Unified School District quasi-riot, where a lot of people were dragged off in handcuffs. And I can tell you those 6 people consistently told me stories of having their arms wrenched behind their back while an officer alternated between yelling, "Stop resisting," and snickering. The perception among those people, and I wasn't there, I can't speak to that, but the perception among those people is that there are a small number of sadists among your department. Okay? I hope, oh yeah, we know that, we know that, oh yeah. Yeah. That's understood. My point is, I hope you brought the A team and not the D team. I really, really hope that you paid very careful attention to which officers you brought to this party. Because, all right, I'll say no more. I don't mean to harass. Thank you.
I think I'm going to say thank you.
Well, there you heard it. The plan is for citations at work. I'm sorry, I'm recording to Sweden. Live streaming to a Swedish server. No, over a 4G cell phone. I built this case so I could do it.
So like it's on right now?
Huh? Oh yeah.
So,
yes.
So your voice is going right to Sweden?
Well, to a server, to a website, and it's accessible here. And the live streams that I create tonight will be accessible on the OccupyTucson Facebook.
Is it a live stream or is
well,
it
it's a live, but it's live, and then it gets saved permanently.
So it's not going out right now?
Oh yes, it is.
So your voice now is going?
Yes, absolutely. And the other thing is, if the cops do get squirrely, I've got this camera here, which I don't care about. It's a $40 booking special. Okay, it only does 2 minutes of video. But I can pull that out, and it's an obvious cam that they can go crazy and target all they want, and I'll catch them doing so on here.
Well, there you go.
I'm set up for, you know, extreme situations. There's a website. There's a website called "Photography Is Not a Crime" by Carlos Miller. He documents cases where you point a camera at a cop and he goes bonkers. And unfortunately, it happens often enough that it's a bit of a trend. So I set up for a worst-case scenario of that sort.
Water here?
Sure.
You guys good on water?
I'm good. Good. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to shut down the recording again. And